What's cool, guys? So I've spent a bit of time with the S.H.Figuarts Street Fighter 5 figurines, the Ryu and the Chun-Li ones, standing right in front of you. I got them a bit slow compared to other people because of slow shipping, but I've spent some time with them, enjoyed it for the most part. Some frustrations here and there, but generally I really like these figurines. So what I'm going to do is go through each figurine individually, then its accessories, and then that's pretty much it. Guess an overall opinion of what I think of them, even though I've just told you. So let's start with Ryu and then put Chun-Li to the side. So Ryu is, as you'd expect, he's based on the Street Fighter 5 version, but he's not as beefcakey, which is a good thing in my opinion, because I don't like beefcake Street Fighter characters for the most part. So he fits in quite well with your Smash Brothers lineup if you guys are interested in that, just because of his slimmer and leaner looking build overall. So this is him as he is. He comes out of the box pretty much like this. The only difference is, out of the box you've got to take his headband pieces off, and then they just plug into the back of his head like so. Otherwise he just comes like this with the additional parts separated. So in terms of articulation, so he can move his shoulder up like so. His gi does block him to go too far up, and then he can kind of swing it backwards like so. And then his elbow, do the bicep flex, and then his wrist also swivels like so, but the part on his glove there doesn't swivel along with it, so that's a bit of a disappointment, but not a big deal. And then his torso movement, front and back, relatively normal, nothing overly exaggerated, is what you'd expect. And his head movement also up and down, side to side, look left, right, left as well. And then his legs can go up that way, that far. In terms of spinning them far apart, that's about his maximum distance. Do the splits that way. And his knee, that's as far as they go. And then his ankles, and then the toe. His toe doesn't actually bend too much, not compared to Chun-Li anyway, but it's okay, it's serviceable by all means. And that's pretty much his articulation to speak of. Yeah, you can twist as well at the hips. So detail wise, so his head and hair is sculpted really nicely. Really cool detail all over. And then what you might notice if it pops up on the camera is the top half of his gi is a textured variant compared to the plain painted stuff that is on his pants. There's no texture on his pants, it's just shades of paint. So if you can take, yeah, there you go, so you can see it on the bottom quite clearly. And then his belt also has the Japanese kanji written on there as well. So it's all good, all good. And then the shading on the back, more of it, give it that grubby look that he's kind of known for, the vagabondish type of look. And then skin tone wise, it's all quite good as well. For the modders out there, you can probably take off the top gi and attempt to make Hot Ryu if you want. I haven't done so. It is joined over here where it folds, so you're going to have to kind of peel that off. I'm not going to risk that myself. Maybe if they do a re-release, then I'll definitely pick it up, because I like this figure. It's really great. He can pose and do his, well, let's just give you an example of his neutral pose, neutral standing, which is pretty much this. Maybe you might want to mess around with the legs a bit, but there you go, that's his pretty much neutral standing pose. And he can actually stand on his own once you play around just a little bit, not too much. Okay, on camera I'm taking longer to do it. There you go, so he can stand on his own much easily, especially compared to Chun-Li. She has problems standing on her own because of her petite build, but Ryu's pretty good with this. He can also do, I don't know, let's just give him his parry pose, I suppose, which is a bit more legs widespread, and then like so. And that is his parry. And he looks pretty good doing it. He always looks quite dynamic in him. For a guy that tends to be very, very boring, he's he's my favorite character actually, so I just prefer him a bit more plain, like him, I guess. So overall, he's really good. You're gonna have a lot of fun posing him in the various poses that he's able to do. He can comfortably do Dragon Punch, his Tatsumaki, charging Fireball. The actual Fireball itself, because I didn't speak about it, but his arms do come out a little bit, but they don't twist over too much. So if you were to pose into the Fireball, for example, I'm not going to change his hands. He does come with an extra set of hands. Whoops. That reminds me, there is one extra bad point I wanted to mention. If you did pose him like that, his arms don't cross over too much, so it's a bit awkward at times, and most Ryu figurines are like that. So I'm a bit sad that SHF didn't manage to work around that one. So what I was going to talk about though is I found on my one, after changing the hands a little bit here and there, they become a bit loose, so just kind of playing with them, they just fall off quite easily. And I don't know if that's down to the shine, the paint finish that's been used on the peg as well, or the way it's done is it's very, very smooth, kind of like the gloves themselves, which the gloves do look quite nice, but they can cause a bit of an annoyance at times when you're just trying to pose him and then the hands fall off. Overall though, he's quite good. So I'm going to move on to Chun-Li now as well. So let's bring her out. Right, so here's Chun-Li, and she is not too much smaller than Ryu. Actually, just quick size comparison, bring him back out. Marginally shorter, pretty much what you'd expect. And running through her, so her head movement is simple: up, down, right, left, side to side, shoulders up. Greatest woman in the world pose. Because of her slimmer, leaner build, petite build, her joints do show a bit more with a bulge, a bit more of a swollen effect. And then wrist as usual. The spikes on her wrist do swivel around as well, both hands. And then torso joint, she can kind of lean back far more than Ryu can. And then her legs are, well, she can do the splits super easily, so you can get her to do the spinning bird kicks with no problem whatsoever. And then also the up kick that she has as well, no problem whatsoever. And then knees bend that way, and then toe joint, I just skipped the other bit, toe joint goes back a bit more than Ryu's does, and then the usual ankle swivel. So she's, as you'd expect, athletic build of the character that she is, so she should be able to split her legs further apart than Ryu can, and thankfully she can, so that's all great. And then talking about the other stuff, so from the top to the bottom again, so her hair sculpt is done really well, paint overall is quite splendid. You can move the tassels on her buns. That sounds a bit weird, but you can move the tassels on her buns, that's right. So that's cool, a nice addition. The details on her clothes are also nicely painted. So the gold detailing, and then the blue is pretty much what you'd expect. I will give you a sneak peek underneath, forgive me everyone. And that's a sneak peek. This is soft plastic, and it is a separate piece, very much like Ryu's as well, which I didn't mention, bring it back out. It's a separated piece as well, so it allows for more flexibility when posing, which is always a good thing, and it looks pretty uniform anyway. Once you've got her down into her poses, you won't really notice it too much. So all in all, really good figurine. My only problem with the Chun-Li one, so I don't have hand issues of them falling off, though to be fair I haven't experienced it as much, but she cannot stand on her own in dynamic poses too greatly. If you guys recall, her neutral standing pose in Street Fighter is kind of one leg forward and then this leg bent a little bit backwards. You're not going to get it to look as fancy as it was in the game, but there's no way she's going to stand like this. She would just fall over because it's just, yeah, it's just imbalance. The balance in the Ryu figure is superior, there's no denying it. So if you've got a stand, then by all means use it, but she'll look great either way. So that covers pretty much Chun-Li and Ryu, the figurines themselves. Now let's talk about their included accessories, starting with Ryu. So he comes with two different heads. One is the gritting the teeth and then looking to the side look, which is nicely done. I think the teeth might look a bit dirty to some people, but don't think about it too much, don't look too closely and you won't know. So that's all good. And then the other one is open mouth, yelling. I personally don't think SHF do these faces very well, so I'm not too thrilled about this one. I mean, it's a great, it's nice to have the option, but I don't really care for it. Just think it looks weird. And then the other accessories or optional parts is one pair of additional hands, the grip hands, which you will use for his Hadouken poses. So that's basically what you're going to really use them for, and parrying and charging fireballs and whatever you want to use it for. But these are the only pair of hands he comes with. Sadly, not much more than that. And then finally, he comes with the Hadouken fireball itself, which does come separated. You just plug it into the stand like so, and then it stands on its own, and it's quite nice looking, very translucent blue, and it looks the part for sure. Moving on, oh actually also he does come with a backdrop of the Forgotten Waterfalls, which comes in two pieces. So they are folded cardboard. There's nothing special about them, it's just two pieces of cardboard. And Chun-Li comes with her own version as well, which I'll get to. And that's Ryu in a nutshell, his accessories. And then Chun-Li's accessories are as following. She comes with two different heads as well. So this is her first head, which is a yelling, open mouth yelling, which is actually done much better than the Ryu one in my opinion. So I'm actually cool with this one, it's cool. So that's one head done. Second head is a smiling variant. Actually, I've actually mistaken it. The smiling variant is already on the included. Well, this is the normal head that comes with it. I replaced it with the smiling head, which is this one. So there's a slight smirk on her face, give it a bit more of a gentle look compared to the default serious look. So those are her heads. And then she also comes with three pairs of different hands compared to Ryu's singular pair, or one additional pair. So she comes with the open palm hands, like so. And then the other pair is closed finger palm strike, like so. And then finally her other pair of hands are more of an elegant shape to them, like so. So those covers her hands. And then finally she does come with an effect piece as well. So she comes with the lightning legs effect piece. This one I'll explain briefly, but I won't show because it falls apart a little bit. So it comes with its included stand as well. And what it essentially is you sandwich one of her feet into the whole hair, and it comes apart like a sandwich. But basically this bit, and this bit, I think they can come off quite easily. And there's a very, very small additional piece inside that also falls off very easily as you try and play around with it. So yeah, you can swivel it around and position it properly according to how you've got the figurine as well. And once you've applied it, it does look quite good. I'll just show you without, oh see, there we go, it's just kind of fallen off quite easily. So I don't like playing around with it too much, but the leg just kind of goes in here and then you've kind of got a cool pose going on. But like I said, it just falls apart too easily, which does get annoying for the Chun-Li figurine. And finally, she also comes with her own backdrop of Bustling Side Street, which again is just two pieces of card that you position and try and fight against to get them to stand, which they won't. So bringing them back out, both Ryu and Chun-Li again, let's get them to stand comfortably. If we can, let's push it back a bit, and then I'll give you a very, very quick size comparison to other folks. So he's standing. She's probably not going to stand right now because it can get a bit finicky. Oh, no. Oh, is she? Good enough. So those two size comparison amongst themselves, and then bringing out the fourth Hokage. So he's just a bit shorter than Ryu, about the same size as Chun-Li. Bringing out S.H.F. Vegeta as well, and he's, well, tiny. Well, he should be smaller in my opinion, and he's smaller than both of them, which is a good thing. And then Itachi as well, and he is he's about the same size as Ryu. Really, he looks a bit taller because he's standing in front, but he is about the same size. And then as a bonus, there's a Revotech Spider-Man, which, let's bring Chun-Li to the side because she keeps falling. Spider-Man stands, excuse me, a little bit weirdly. Oh, and his legs falls off. The joints are annoying in this Spider-Man figurine, but he's about the same size as the Ryu as well. Finally, we got the Hench Venom, which towers, well, height-wise he's not hugely big, but size-wise he is, well, a monster compared to Ryu. And that pretty much covers both these two figurines. I do recommend them if you are a Street Fighter fan. They are much better than the Sota toy figurines in the past. Well, from my experience, I only had the Ryu Sota. Well, I only played with the Ryu Sota figurine, and this one is much better. He looks the part. His posing is much better, and yeah, he's just an overall cool figurine. The Chun-Li one I do like as well, and can recommend it wholeheartedly to Street Fighter fans. The next releases of these are going to be Cammy and Rashid later this year, I believe, which you can still pre-order as well. And you can still get Ryu and Chun-Li from, well, good retailers online like CD Japan, which is where I got them from. So if you like Street Fighter and you need some figurines to replace your old ones or something or whatever,